Welcome to San Joaquin Spotlight, a public affairs program featuring conversations about life in the central San Joaquin Valley. This program is brought to you in partnership between KFSR 90.7 FM and CMAC Fresno. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Today, we have a good friend, Jefferson Beavers, in the studio. He's going to be talking about Film Works, Fresno Film Works. Jefferson, welcome back to the studio.
Thank you, Mr. Sevag. Pleasure to be here.
We're old friends, and I say
Yes.
that because we met years ago in the radio station.
That's right, KFSR.
KFSR, and here we are years later in CMAC, in the beautiful studio
right.
we have here.
I'm always impressed with the work that you do on San Joaquin Spotlight. I was lucky to be a host on Evening Eclectic at KFSR for a little while, and followed your show when you first moved from Hayuj to San Joaquin Spotlight, and have been a big fan. So I'm always flattered and thankful that you have us back.
Glad to have you back. And
Thank
by
you.
the way, the stuff you see, the volunteer crew does this production, and they're here every week doing this. So we couldn't do this without them. And so thank you. Thank you for the compliment.
Likewise, thanks.
You're here today talking about Fresno Film Works.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this organization.
Thank you. Fresno Film Works is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization. We've been around since 2002. We just celebrated our 12th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we show independent films every month at the Tower Theater. It's our goal to bring independent, multicultural, and international movies to Fresno, the kinds of movies that you wouldn't see at the multiplex. We really focus on the independent voice. Again, films in foreign languages, films that really, again, you wouldn't have an opportunity to see out in the theater anywhere else. We've been doing that for more than 12 years. And also in the spring, we put on our annual Fresno Film Festival, which this year we're celebrating the 10th anniversary for that event.
So 10 years you've been doing this film festival.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it a little bit.
Fresno Film Festival started 9 years ago at the Tower Theater, and it started out very small. Initially, it was a 2-day affair. We showed, I think, 3 or 4 films at that time, mostly international selections. And we got a lot of great feedback from our community that said, we really love these international movies. We love an opportunity to see those in like a multi-day format. And after that first year of a 2-day format, we went to 3 days. And we've been a 3-day format festival since then. This upcoming festival, the 2014 Fresno Film Festival, is 3 days. April 25th through 27th. It's the last weekend of April. And we've got 19 films from 11 different countries over the 3 days. We're very, very pleased with the lineup.
19 films, 11 different countries.
That's right.
I mean, it should be called an international film festival because you've got a lot of different languages.
That's right. We pride ourselves on those international titles. Those are not the kind of movies that you see, at Edwards or at Manchester. It's not Fast and the Furious 7. We strive for kind of the smaller, lo-fi, independent kind of films. Some of them, though, are still big names. We still have a couple of Oscar nominees. We still have a couple of major actors in the films that we're presenting. But again, they are smaller in nature, more independent, coming here to town in a place that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise.
Why? And we're going to show 3 films, short trailers of these films in a little bit. And actually, after this question, we'll show the first one. But why are you so involved in this?
I love independent film. I've always loved the movies, and it pretty much started when I got out of college. It was the early 90s when I first left college. Maybe I just dated myself. And I loved going to the movies. I lived and worked in the Bay Area for a few years and would go all over the place, Berkeley, Oakland, Palo Alto, to see whatever the newest independent film was. And I really, really connected with those stories, alternatives to things I was used to seeing in the multiplex. I never got to experience that here growing up in the Central Valley. I was born in Dinuba. I lived in Fresno for several years going to college. And so kind of my taste of the big city was this opportunity to explore these kinds of films that this visual experience, these visual stories that I'd never had a chance to experience. So when I came back to town, early 2000s, I worked at the Fresno Bee. And that was about the same time that Fresno Film Works started. I was a fan of Film Works, went to the movies almost every month whenever I had an opportunity to, and then later started volunteering with them. Again, we are an all-volunteer group. All of us have day jobs and other careers, and we do Film Works as a project because we really believe in it. really believe in bringing those kinds of voices to town. And so really for me and for all of us on the board, it's a love of seeing good films and sharing those stories with our community.
So let's take a look at one of these films now, and then after the clip, we can talk about it.
Sounds great.
せーの、ケイタ、合格おめでとう。どうぞ。
小学校入学のための血液検査がご両親と一致しなくて。
本当にケイタは私たちの子じゃないんでしょうか。流星です。ケイタです。
今後はスムーズに交換へ進めそうですか。
犬や猫ならともかく。
どうした？会いたくないの？俺たちの子に。
流星君のママはどんな人？
最初は怖かったけど優しかった。
それでも血のつながってない子供を。
パパなんかパパじゃない。
父親かて取り替えの期間仕事やろ。
流星が可愛くなってきた。
流星君のおじさんもおばさんもケイタのこと大好きだって言ってたから。
パパより？
That looks
Oh.
like an incredible film.
It is,
Tell
yes.
us a little bit about it.
This clip we just watched is from the film Like Father, Like Son. It's a Japanese family drama, and it is our opening night film on Friday the 25th. It's directed by a guy named Hirokazu Koreeda, and he's kind of among the new wave of Japanese master directors. And he tells stories that are very quiet, very delicate. They have a lot of emotional complexity. And so this particular film, Like Father, Like Son, has a story that maybe we've seen before. Children switched at birth. There's kind of this nature versus nurture kind of discussion there. But Koreeda infuses it with this kind of deep longing, this, again, very quiet and patient and delicate storytelling. And here on the set, we were watching it without the sound. And I was actually really struck by how beautiful it is without the sound on. And I think that's indicative of a lot of Japanese films. They're very focused on kind of the mood, the atmosphere, kind of the pictorial nature of the cinematography. And so I think you have a story that is kind of universally resonant. It's a family story, but yet it also has a lot of kind of uplifting moments, pondering kind of moments. It's a nice way to open the festival with a little touch of thought, a little touch of joy. But also, a serious topic.
How do you pick these films? And the reason I ask is, we watched this without the sound in the studio,
Sure.
but it was powerful. I mean, I could tell what was going on, even though I didn't have sound to listen to. I mean, this was a great choice. How are these movies selected?
It's a good question. During our monthly series, Film Works shows a movie the second Friday of every month at the Tower. Our monthly series is a very democratic process. Our entire board participates. We watch reviews, we watch the independent distributor websites to see what's coming out. We all nominate individual films, discuss them as a group, and then rank them. For our festival, though, we have a much smaller committee that really takes a look at the breadth and depth of the program, tries to come up with different styles, different languages, different countries. And so this year, our committee really looked for, again, those international titles for our 10th anniversary to kind of tie in back with the spirit of our event. This particular movie, because of the director, Koreeda, We've shown a film of his before. It was a couple years ago called I Wish, which was another family drama that really focused on children, and was a very popular film, again, a very quiet and delicate film. And so we've had our eye on this movie because of the director. He's definitely like a Film Works director, very cinematic, very literary. And yeah, we read reviews. Some members of the committee saw the film at other festivals and through press screeners, and just wanted to make that choice of something that feels universal, that has uplifting, but also challenges you in content. That's kind of how we come to choose. We balance those elements.
You know, you mentioned that, you know, when you were in San Francisco, you would go to Berkeley and different places to watch these kind of things. Are you finding that in Fresno we respect the independent films? Because, you know, there's a lot of independent films out there that haven't made headlines in the latest movie magazine, but they're powerful and people love them.
Right. Exactly. For us in Fresno, there just aren't a lot of opportunities to see independent films of any kind, whether they're you know, corporate independents, as some of the ones that we were showing at the festival are, or whether they're true independents, you know, people that don't have major distribution deals. There's just not a lot of places to be seen in this town. There are 4 of the 5 multiplexes in Fresno Clovis Market are owned by one company, and so that means more than, and I won't mention its name, but more than 80% of the screens in town are controlled by one company, and that's why there's not a lot of choice, there's not a lot of diversity of voices. And so, you know, we take our charge very seriously to, you know, bring those kinds of voices to the screen. We also attempt to connect with, you know, themes and ideas that our community is interested in, and you know, we look for, again, languages, connections to cultural groups that you're just not going to get, you know, with Fast and the Furious 7. You have to look to those kind of independent voices to really tell those stories. You know, the Hollywood system is very much like an insider system. And there's less and less risk that's taken with big budget blockbusters. It's what's a big franchise that the big corporate conglomerates are going to know are going to sell. These types of films, much smaller scale, and again, really lend voice to you know, people who want to tell us some different types of stories that kind of round out the big budget stuff we're used to seeing.
Before we watch the next film, I want to ask you, age group for these movies. I mean, are you welcoming families? Or are you welcoming 18 and over? Who are you welcoming?
That's a great question. It varies a little bit from film to film. The trailer we just saw, Like Father, Like Son, is not rated because it's an international film, but we would probably put it at about a PG-13 for some of the adult situations. Most of the films we have at the festival this year are anywhere from PG to rated R. We do have one family-friendly program, though, on Saturday afternoon, the 26th. It's a program of 5 short films that are all G or PG. There's a stop-motion animation film, experimental documentary, a couple of other films. So our family dynamic is the Saturday afternoon. But overall, I would say generally PG-13. There's a couple in there that are definitely rated R. I think the one we're going to see next, the Palestinian film, is definitely rated R.
Speaking of that Palestinian film, let's go ahead and watch the trailer now, and then tell us a little bit about the trailer.
Very good.
تحبيني تحبي حدا تاني احكيلي
قصدك براد بيت.
احنا اصحاب عمر.
احنا جاهزين شباب.
فيش إلك قهوة إلا إذا بتعمل براندو.
someone like yes.
اتجوز نادية ونادية أخته.
عمر لما بدك تحرر بلدك بتقرر انك تثور، في ثمن لازم تدفع.
شو ما كلفني الموضوع أنا بدي أتجوز نادية.
خذ نفس، حدد الهدف تاعك، طخ.
طول ما في اختلال بلاش.
احكي لي عمر، انت بتعرف واحدة مزبوط، بس اذا ما بدك تشتغل معنا حياتك راح تصير جحيم للأبد، وتنساش حياة حبيبتك.
الو،
جيب لي راس طارق.
يا بجيبك من هيك.
امتى طلعت من السجن؟ انا مستعده اعيش معك في اي مكان.
في بيناتنا خاين، كل واحد فينا مشتبه فيه.
هاي نعمل كل شيء عشان تسرق نادية منك.
ضبط البلدية شكل بعض.
انت جاسوس، الكل اكد لي.
كل فهم غلط.
حياتي ما فكرت انه الحب ممكن قد يوجع.
شوية صون وراح نكون مع بعض.
Another great film.
Intense.
Intense. Before we go on and watch the next clip, when is the film festival and when can we watch these great films?
Well, the film we just saw is the Palestinian thriller Omar. It plays on Saturday night, April 26th. I don't remember the time, but it's 7-ish. But the festival itself is the last weekend in April, Friday, April 25th through Sunday, April 27th. So it's, again, 3 full days of films.
And the next film we're going to see takes it a different place, and it takes it to Paris. So let's go ahead and watch the next trailer.
Very good.
Why are we doing it? Where are we going?
Why? What? Ooh, what? We're in Paris!
Yes, exactly. Why don't we just stop and enjoy it?
Too modern. Too empty. Too touristy.
Your knees gone yet?
Not yet.
What are you doing here in Paris?
God!
It's our wedding anniversary.
And now you will have time just for each other.
Shut up, you idiot. You make my blood boil like nobody else.
A sign of a deep connection.
Once the kids have gone, what's left of us?
Beckett says, do we mean love when we say love?
What else do we mean? That's stupid.
What? Oh!
Oh, God, Nick!
You can't not love and hate the same person. It really hurts. Usually within the space of 5 minutes, in my experience.
I think we've earned a very good time.
People don't change.
They do. They can get worse. Do I please you, monsieur?
Here's the bill. That is quite a lot of money.
Get your coat. Don't tell the kids.
Nick Burrs, who I found yesterday kissing a woman passionately in the street. He later claimed that that woman was his wife.
Here's to the future. Drugs, sex, divorce, death.
Ah, Paris. Who'd want to live anywhere else?
It's to us. Try me again, and I promise it'll be more fun this time.
You know,
lots of fun.
Lots of fun, but there are some very notable actors and actresses in these movies. So, I mean, both movies are well done. All 3 of them, actually, I should say. But do you think people really understand how good these independent films are?
Well, I hope so. I hope they're willing to come out and take a chance on them with us at the Tower Theater. Omar, the Palestinian film, is an Oscar nominee for Best Foreign Language Film. It was one of 5 picked internationally. Again, we don't really see films out of the Palestinian territories have that kind of impact on a worldwide film scale. Here with Le Weekend, the British film that we just saw the preview for, that stars Lindsay Duncan and Jim Broadbent, 2 wonderfully accomplished actors. Broadbent, of course, an Oscar nominee in the past, and it's framed within the magic city of Paris. Very, very romantic, but also very bittersweet because we can see they're kind of struggling with with their relationship as they're trying to rekindle it. So yeah, I think these are universal stories, but they're also, again, glimpses at people's lives and of voices that we wouldn't see elsewhere. And I think that's really the key. If you want to expand your horizon, you know, give these kinds of stories a chance, I think this is a good place to give that a try.
What else should we expect? I mean, these 3 movies are great, but anything else that's coming up in that weekend that people will go wow?
Absolutely. We have lots of other wow moments too. 2 of the other feature films we have, a beautiful Australian film set in Laos called The Rocket. It's kind of an adventure fable.
Australian film in Laos.
It's a international co-production, Australia, Laos, and Thailand. It's set in Laos, and it follows the story of this boy who's believed to be cursed. His village feels him to be cursed, so he goes on this journey to kind of prove himself within his village. That's called The Rocket. We also have an incredible documentary called Finding Vivian Maier. It's the story of a nanny in 1950s and 60s Chicago who actually was one of the world's greatest street photographers, but she hoarded all of her negatives in film. And we never discovered that until she passed away in 2009.
Wow.
So it's really an incredible story of street photography, Finding Vivian Maier. And then we have 2 full programs of original short films. This is our annual short film competition. We solicit shorts from all over the world, from up-and-coming and amateur filmmakers. We got more than 130 submissions this year and picked 14. And so we have 2 full programs of them. It is very competitive. 2 full programs and then several sprinkled throughout the weekend. 2 of the 14 come from filmmakers with local connections. And again, those 2 shorts programs give you a glimpse into different storytelling techniques, again, more variety of people's lives, and they're done in the short form. So we have stop-action animation, experimental biography, crime drama, emotional comedies, all kinds of different, different styles. So we're really pleased with that short film competition as well.
Are they all-day things? I mean, you mentioned that it's a weekend, so if
Oh,
I'm
yes.
coming to your festival, I'm going to be there all day or all afternoon. What time to what time?
On opening night, Friday the 25th, we start at 7 o'clock, and we just have 1 film that night, and it's followed by a reception, a champagne reception. So we welcome filmmakers to the festival, we welcome the public. We usually draw a pretty good crowd that night. It's a festive atmosphere at the tower. We pipe some music in. People are enjoying a little glass of champagne. It's a lot of fun. Once we get into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, there's 3 programs each day, mostly afternoon and evening. And if you really want to be a movie warrior, you can get a festival pass and try to make it all day. Watch a movie, then you step out and grab a bite at one of our neighbors in the Tower District, come back and hit another one. And festival pass is like $45 for the entire weekend, so it's 7 programs. It's a great deal.
Which gives you a lot to do all weekend, and
Absolutely.
you see a lot of great movies and films.
Absolutely. Before I was involved with Film Works and I was just a fan, I would just camp out. I'd get my festival pass. My wife and I would plan out which restaurants we're going to hit between the showings. So it's a great weekend out in the tower.
Fresno, the community. Are you growing in your followers?
That's a good question. I think that the way that people consume movies these days is changing. The experience of going out to a theater and enjoying that experience, the surround sound, the people, the big screen, has changed. We're watching movies on our mobile devices, on our iPads, on our tablets, and our organization is really kind of struggling a little bit to identify what makes people want to still come to the theater. And we have managed, despite this digital shift, this availability at home of tablets, alternative devices, fancy home theater systems, we've managed to maintain our audience and to slowly, in the last 6 months or so, start to grow our audience again.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's a difficult prospect, and what we try to do is we try to put one little touch on every screening. Maybe it's a discussant, maybe it's like an after party, maybe it's a movie from a country that has never shown in Fresno. We try to do one little something that's special each time, so it's a little bit more than coming out to the movies. And I think that's the way that we will help preserve the movie-going public in this town.
We're running out of time this week on the program, but the venue, Tower Theater.
Yes.
Talk about it. Is it comfortable for people who haven't been there? Is it a nice scene? Is the studio nice? Is the screen nice?
The historic Tower Theater is a beautiful space. It first opened in 1939. It's a historic Art Deco theater, National Register of Historic Places. It's gorgeously renovated. It has been our home almost since the beginning of our organization for more than a decade. It's been the home of the festival for more than a decade. It's a very comfortable space. It's also very old-fashioned. You know, it's the design, the architecture is a little old-fashioned. You know, we sell beer and wine in the lobby. It's very different than your experience at the multiplex. I think people who haven't come out to the Tower Theater before and are again looking for that kind of old-fashioned kind of movie experience, it's a great first-time trip to come out. We're very comfortable there, and I think our core audience really loves going into that old space and having that experience there at an old-fashioned theater.
Is there places to eat around there? I mean, you said that you and your
Well,
wife go out there, but I mean, let's say we watch a film and then want to go out to grab a bite. Good restaurants?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the Tower District, that whole strip there around Washawn and Olive is packed with places. There are several sponsors that support the festival that we're particularly partial to. Me and Ed's Pizzeria, Sequoia Brewing Company, Cafe Corazon, a couple of those kinds of places. But yeah, I mean, any place really on the Tower Strip is a great place to go. And they're all supportive of events that happen in the Tower because it creates, again, that sense of community, that back and forth between the theater and its surrounding community. So you really can't go wrong with anything you choose there.
Tell us where we can find out more information.
Absolutely. Our festival lineup is live on our website, fresnofilmworks.org, and you just click on the festival link right on the homepage. It'll take you to the full lineup. You can also buy tickets and festival passes there. We also have a YouTube channel with lots of promotional videos and trailers like you saw today, as well as Facebook and Twitters. So you can find us all over the internet.
Lastly, why should we come?
Fresno Film Festival is a great opportunity, again, to see a good movie in a public space, in a community space, and to share that experience, to share those voices with each other, with other people in your community. I think that's a really good, important thing to remember, to give that a try. And the power of movies and the power of that storytelling, I think, will really, really move you.
Thank you for coming this week.
Thank you, Mr. Sevag.
That's all for this edition of San Joaquin Spotlight. Thank you to the volunteer crew that made this and every production possible. Thank you to our listening audience at 90.7 FM KFSR Fresno, and thank you for those of you watching this broadcast on CMAC, AT&T 99, Comcast 93. This week's guest has been Jefferson Beavers with the Fresno Film Works. Tune in next week for a new edition.